like this. See, look how beautiful you could look in some of my hats. Hello, welcome to episode 19 of that RowRow and Kades podcast. My name is Kelly, also known as RowRow and Kades, and you can find me on Instagram mostly, YouTube obviously, and very, very occasionally on Ravelry, not so much these days. But yes, that's where I am, and this is me, and welcome to my channel. And yeah, I am not getting any better at these intros. I'm just horrendous. But let's crack on. So, this week I'm looking at my notes because I'm rubbish, but I have a couple of finished objects, both of them you've never seen before. and then some new whips and things. So I'm gonna get cracking straight on. So the first finished object is this little dude. So little tail. So this is Buster the Easter Bunny, and he is a new pattern from Amanda Tozzi, and I am testing it for her. So I cast this on last night and finished him. I'm hoping this door isn't like super bright, I'm sorry. So I've cast on this last night and got him done in a night, and he's currently in testing it in, and I just love him. And I knew when I saw that she'd designed it, I was like, Rowan's gonna love him. So Rowan hasn't actually seen him yet because he was off to school this morning, so you'll see him when he gets in. But yeah, he's gonna love him. So yeah, Buster, he's got a little dicky ball and a tail. I did a proper pom-pom for his tail. The pattern is just like a quick pom-pom that's wrapped around your finger, but I'm terrible at them. So I just used a pom-pom maker and did a proper pom-pom. But he's super fast. He's knitted in worsted weight yarn on 3.5mm needles, which is a US 4. But I didn't do that. I couldn't find any worsted weight yarn. I'd found some since. I couldn't find any in my stash. It's not something that I use. So I ended up finding this old, it's really rough, rustic stuff, and I think it's a DK. And then me and Amanda, whenever I test it for Amanda, I never, we don't match gauge at all. We must knit totally different. I always struggle to find her gauge, and vice versa. So she had worsted weight on a 3.5mm needle, a US 4, and it was 6 stitches for an inch. And I used DK with a 3.75mm needle, which is a US 5, and got gauge. So I don't know. We knit so different, but I got gauge anyway, so he's the right size. But yes, it was just all scrap. This was a little scrap I had left over from the cardigan, the Intarsia cardigan that I did for Jane. This is some Debbie Bliss Cash Merino in sport weight. So yeah, Buster the Easter Bunny. I absolutely love him. And he's stuffed with scrap yarn as well. I have a stash of scrap yarn up there that I just use to stuff things with. So he's stuffed with scrap yarn and he's class. So that is Buster. I thought I would show him to you. I'm going to make another one today. And yeah, and I'll share that with you next time. I can have an army of rabbits. So that's Buster. Oh, stand up, mate. There we go. So that's my first finished object. My second finished object is in this little bag. This is just a little drawstring project bag that I made ages ago. So another project that you haven't actually, you've kind of seen. You've seen my most Ardently socks, which are currently in testing. Testing ends on March 29th, so that's these ones. So you've seen these a couple of times. They're one of my whips. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I already have. But I decided, I think I'd mentioned that these are cuff down with a heel flap and gusset. And I think I mentioned that I would have really liked to do a taupe version, because I know that there's team taupe and team cuff down. And it's nice to kind of get us all together once in a while. So I decided to try and did. So these are taupe. So they're the taupe most Ardently. And this was my, I've not really knitted taupe taupe socks before. And so this was kind of my first proper taupe sock. So it was also the first time I had to write a taupe sock pattern, which has been a steep learning curve, shall we say. It's not been too bad actually. The testers have been brilliant, and yeah, I think I've sussed it, but I struggled with what heel to use, and I ended up going for a German short row heel, and I really like it. I'm definitely going to use it again. I put a tutorial up last week to be able to do it yourself if you've never done it before, which features these socks. But I have lots of plans for taupe socks with a German short row heel in the future, because I think that's class. I'm having a cup of tea. So they are finished. I've got two. They're just the shorties. So most Ardently, this sock pattern will now come as cuff down, heel flap and gusset, taupe, German short row heel, and both of them can be done with a mid calf or a shorty. So lots of options, and I currently have 40 testers. It's like my brain is like there's a lot of people, and trying to remember what size everybody is doing, and what construction everybody is doing, and what length everybody is doing, and cause people are just going, I'm stuck on my size, what do I do? And I'm like, which size are you again? Hang on a minute. So yeah, it's a lot of brain power, but it's going well, and there's some absolutely gorgeous ones turning up. So I'm really, really happy with how they're going. So it is a very, very simple pattern, but it's one of those, oh, my nail varnish matches, lovely. It's one of those simple but effective type patterns. It's really pretty, and yeah, and then the German short row heel for the toe up. So that is a finished object with those. You can come off there now, can't you? Ta-da! That looks massive. It's just come off the blocker, but it'll shrink back. So yeah, brilliant. So I'm happy with those, just in time. This one, I'm getting there. I'm not getting there. That's a big lie. I've got that much done. Getting there. No, you're not. No, you're not. I've done this much. I've been like kind of dipping in and out of it. So like, if I'm chatting to someone, I'll do a couple of rows and things like that. Because I'm not in a massive hurry. What's my deadline? March 29th, a week and a bit away. And that's the deadline for the testers. The pattern's going to come out like early April. I'll get it done by then, because I obviously need to photograph it and everything. I've just got other things that I've needed to do, so I've kind of took priority while these have been in testing. The only reason these got done was because I'd done one to make sure I could do it, wrote it out, and then I did the second one because I had to do the tutorial for people in the test who hadn't done a German short row heel before. I had to get it done. So yeah, and I've done a tutorial for the stretchy cuff. It's Jenny Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off. So I've done a tutorial for that as well, just so I can link them all in the pattern. I know there's loads of tutorials for it out there, but it's nice to have my own tutorials to send people to when they buy my pattern. I can't see at the minute because my fringe is really long. I'm going to the hairdressers next week. Look. Oh my god, it's shocking. So, you know, all my secrets, you lot. These are knitted on, this is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. This is the Dusty Miller colourway. It's just a lovely silvery grey. It's a really nice colourway. And what I like about Signature Yarn, Signature 4-ply, is you get a ball and it's like £8 or something, isn't it? It's nearly £8 for the ball. But you get like 2 pair of socks out of it. I think it's good value. Good value. So that's those. I don't know why that's going back in there because I finished them ones and it's just... So that's Buster, you fell over again. So that's those. So that's finished object and kind of a whip too, isn't it? Because, yeah. I should like tie it up like a Yorkshire Terrier. Anyway, that's not. So now is my whips. My whips, I've basically been knitting so many socks lately. I kind of got a bit burnt out. But what I'm about to tell you, you'll be like, well, I thought you were burnt out. I've had to cast on like a new pair of socks, and I've just got more socks than I know what to do with, like, in my head. So I've got Secret Sample Knits pair of socks, which I can't show you. I've got Terry socks. I've got my Most Ardently socks. I've got my Potter and Bloom socks. I haven't done any work on the second one of those, so I'm not even going to bother getting them out. And then I've got a new pair of socks. So what's that? Potter and Bloom, new, Terry's, Secret, Most Ardently. 5 pairs of socks on the go. So I'm a bit socked out, but I'll get them all done so I can move on to newer things. I have been designing the Moonglade top. I've been designing the Moonglade top, and the maths is pretty much done. The top half at least, anyway. It's been a little bit tricky. So I'm wanting to get that cast on, so I'm hoping to get that cast on before you see me next. And then at least I'll have something a bit different than socks to show you. Look at this sock, and look at this sock, and look at this sock. And look at this sock. So this is Terry's sock, which is why it's huge. I got this one finished. This was in the Silly Socks by Hobbii. Who I still keep calling Hobbii, and I don't mean to. So Hobbii, this is the Witty Joker colourway, and it was on the 2.25mm needle, which is a US one. I showed you these last week when I'd cast them on, and I just, oh, so much fun. Now I do have a little, like every now and again, can you see that? See that bleeding there? I don't know if it's focusing. Every now and again you were getting that, so that was a bit sad, but not often enough for me to spot it anywhere else. Oh, it's there up the top. It's only every now and again it was like bleeding. There we go. But other than that, I love them, and Terry loves them. He's having to wait for his second pair because I'm I'm swamped with other things. His second pair, his second sock. But one's done, and I do intend to get the other one finished as soon as possible. I still have lots of Witty Joker left, and I did actually I didn't buy it. Hobbii sent it to me to try, so I did order 2 balls of Witty Joker, thinking that I would need 2 for Terry's massive feet, but I don't, so I'm going to have a spare, so I might end up with a pair myself. So they need to be finished, well, cast on as well. They're living in my Songbird handmade bag, which I love. I wish I could buy from her every single time. This is probably one of my, well, it is one of my favourite project bags. I use this all the time. It never gets put away, to be honest, because one project comes out and this one goes in. It probably should be washed because I've had it since summer, I think, and it's white, so yeah, it's getting a little bit grubby. I should probably give it a wash after these socks are done. But I just love it. So yes, that's that one. I'm gonna have another tea. My next project is also like an acquisition. So as you know, I work with Hobbii, and they ask me to try out new yarns and show you guys and everything, which I've told you before. So recently they sent me their new rainbow sock yarn, and the rainbow sock comes in 8 ply, which I keep calling DK because I always think of 8 ply as DK, but it's called 8 ply, and 4 ply. So 4 ply is like sock yarn. That's what the UK calls sock yarn. It's 4 ply, and 8 ply is like DK. They're living in my Jimmy Roo Sews tea party bag, which is covered in hair. I think the cat's been sat on it. My dog's snoring if you can hear her. So I got 2 balls of 8 ply. If I call it DK, I'm sorry. I keep going to call it DK. 8 ply. I got 2 balls of 8 ply. I got the Bordeaux colourway. Doesn't like that. I wonder if it's because it's red. It's dark red though. It's like a wine colour, which is why it's called Bordeaux. So Bordeaux and grey, spelt, oh there, it's focused on that one. So the grey is spelt the American way with an A, not an E. And yes, those were the 8 ply that I got. And then in the 4 ply, which I haven't cast on with yet, so you can see the labels, I got sand and dark olive. So this is the sand. And the dark olive. So these are Hobbii rainbow sock. There is 40 colours to choose from. The 4 ply also comes in the Bordeaux and the grey, and vice versa. They have 40 colours and they come in both weights. So they've sent me those, and I wanted to cast on something with a Bordeaux cuff or a dark olive cuff, and then just a plain pattern going through Bordeaux cuffs, heels and toes, and then a plain simple pattern. But I couldn't find anything that I liked, and I kept trying different things and pulling it out. So I ended up doing a colour work pattern. So a while back I designed this hat pattern for Let's Knit magazine. They've just sent it back to me, and I remembered it, and I was like, do you know what? It's not Fair Isle. It's mosaic knitting. Brain's not working again. It's mosaic knitting. So you only knit in one colour each row, and it's just using slip stitches to create this cool pattern. I'll show you inside so you believe me. So there's no floats there. It's just slip stitches and knitting one row at a time. So that come back to me the other day, and I thought, you know what, that's a really easy pattern, because I just wanted something easy. I've got all these socks to do, and I'm like contracted to do a lot of them, and I was like, everything's like a little bit difficult at the minute. I just want something easy. So this is easy. It doesn't look easy, but that's the what's it called? Beauty. That's the beauty of it, is that it doesn't look easy, but it is a very, very simple pattern. So and it's the same colour, which is a bit, probably shouldn't have done that, but it's what colours I had. I obviously like these two together. This is where we're at. So this is in the 8-ply. Oh, hello, needle. This is in the 8-ply. And I've done one decrease in the gusset. I'm literally just there yesterday. So with them being 8-ply, they are quite thick and chunky, which my plans are. So we've got the thick and chunky 8-ply, and this is obviously cuffed down with a heel flap and gusset. But this one is gonna be taupe German short row. And same pattern, and you will be able to do a 4-ply cuff down heel flap and gusset. You'll be able to do an 8-ply taupe German short row. I will work it out for all, and yeah, some Hypnotic socks. They won't be called that though, because there's already socks called Hypnotic socks as far as I know. But yeah, it's like one of them mazes, isn't it? You know, do they only have them in England? Where they have them big mazes with loads of hedges and you get stuck. You have to work your way into the middle, usually in big posh castle grounds and things. Because they had nothing else to entertain them in them days. But yeah. So, hello. Right. So that is another new bloomin' sock design. Dear me. I do design other things other than socks, you know. Like hats. Yay. So I'm not sure how old this is. I'm always contracted with Let's Knit for 2 years. After 2 years I can then release. So I don't know what yarn this is, but it's gorgeous. But I can't remember what yarn it is. Oh, it smells nice. I think it's a Shapier's, you know. I think it is Shapier's. I'll find out. I'll pop it below. It's very soft. It's like glossy. But yes, I don't think I can release this yet. It's still tied to Let's Knit, but as soon as it is, I will show you. I was thinking, while I'm on the subject of hats, of doing a video showing all my hats. I've seen videos of people showing all the socks they've ever knit and things like this, and all the jumpers they've ever knit. But when I started designing, it was hats. I designed hats, and I have loads. And they're kind of like, because I've kind of stopped designing hats. I do occasionally, but nowhere near like I wanted. That's all I used to design was hats. So because I've like kind of moved away from that now, they're kind of like left in the dust and they don't get a lot of attention. And I was just wondering whether to do a video where I could be stupid and show you all my hats. Like this. See, look how beautiful you could look in some of my hats. Seriously though. I really need my fringe cut in so bad. But yeah, woolly pom pom. Yeah, I don't know. Would you like to see lots of hats? I don't know. Is hats a thing anymore? But I used to make hats all the time, and now it's like socks, isn't it? Socks and jumpers. So yeah, but that's them. Anyway, I digress. So what's my last? I have one more thing to show you. This is in my stunning, absolutely stunning bag from Yew Tree Yarn Crafts, which is Diane. She sent this to me and it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I absolutely love this bag. And it's my only one that fits like jumpers in or big massive shawls. But that was a little clue. So some of you might have seen this already on Instagram. So this is one of my make nines. I know I haven't finished the first make nine I started, which was the Potter and Bloom socks. But like I said, I couldn't, I don't even think I've got the needles to cast it on anyway. I'm socked, properly socked at the minute. So I couldn't bring myself to cast on the Potter and Bloom second sock. I will get it finished because it's beautiful. But, oh, don't drop that. So this is my chunky Dahlia. Can you see that? Okay, so it's quite a wide neck. So the pattern actually called for you to knit, how much was it? 10 centimetres. 10 centimetres in the rib with a provisional cast on, and then you were to fold it down and knit it together so that you had like a double folded over neck. But when I did the swatch, it's like quite a loose knit. I can show you. See, it's not like a thick knit, it's quite loose and airy, which is what I wanted. So I didn't really want this thick double collar and then like an airy jumper. So instead I only knit for 5 inches or 4.5 because I counted for the fold over, and I did a tubular cast on so that it looks like it's folded over. So I only have it's only a single rib. I didn't do the double over. And I'm dropping stitches. Should really put stoppers on. I'm almost finished the yoke. I think I've got like, these bits have to get, these bits have to get to a point. So I've probably got about 4, 5, 6 rows to go. And then I'm onto the body. I'm loving it. And it's such a huge change from socks, because it's just like, that was 3 nights. That was 3 nights work, and literally it was like an hour and a half a night. It wasn't a lot. And I'm almost finished the yoke, so I'm really, really happy with it so far. I've had a little try on, even though it's tiny. I don't really have a massive cable to be able to put it on, and it's also, it's knitted on 7mm needles, which I've looked up, and the US don't have a size for 7mm. 7mm are a funny size. You don't see that very often. So in the US you've got 6.5mm, which is the 10.5, US 10.5, and then it jumps to 8mm, which is the US 11. So because you've gone 10.5 to 11, 7 and 7.5mm are missing, so you must just call them 7 and 7.5mm, I'm assuming, because they're just not there in the list, unless I've got, my list is dodgy. But yeah, but 7mm is a strange size. You don't see it a lot, and I think this is, I have 2 7mm needles, and that was because a magazine asked me to design a hat in 7mm, and they sent me this one, but I don't like magic looping hats, so I ended up buying a hat 7mm, and then I magic looped the crown, Sorry, I've got a runny nose. So that's why I've got 7mm. I don't think I would have had them otherwise. I've never used them for anything else. It's only this hat. So I had these and I got gauge with it. This is in West Yorkshire Spinners Retreat. This is the Tranquil colourway. I've used this before. I used it for Rowan's cardigan. That was an Amanda Tozzi cardigan, the Arlo Mountain cardigan. And this is the colour that Rowan picked, and I had some balls left over, which is why I just topped them up to use it for this. I haven't got much left of this ball. But it's a really soft yarn. It's very splitty. It's not spun very tight. It's quite a loosely spun. But it's lovely, and it's lovely and soft and fluffy. So I'm quite excited to get this done and wear it. So that is my chunky Dahlia. I've wanted to knit this jumper for since I first ever saw the the Dahlia romper. I think that's where she started. I was just talking to a friend this morning about it. That's where she started, with the Dahlia romper, I think. And I remember seeing that and being like, oh, that's so pretty. Like, I wish she would like do a jumper in it. And then she translated things to English, and then she started doing different Dahlias, and eventually the Dahlia adult stuff started to come out, and I've just wanted to knit it so long. So I'm dead chuffed that I finally got it on the needles, and it's happening. It's happening. Right, so that is everything that I've got going on. But I will tell you, I'm going to get my violin out and tell you a sad tale about a Loxley jumper. So Loxley, oh Loxley. I haven't done a lot on it. You will see why in a minute. So, hang on, you go on there. I think the last time I saw you, I'd done this much sleeve, and now I've done this much sleeve. And I have this much yarn. There's no way I'm finishing a sleeve. And part of me was like, well, pull this out because it's wrong anyway, as we've all discussed, and use that on the sleeve. But there's no way. There's no way there's enough in that colour to get me all the way down to the bottom of there when I'm here. So I have completely fallen out of love with this jumper. I'm just at the end of my rope with it. That neck has just annoyed me so much, and I'm just so like about it. So what I'm thinking of doing, I'm either going to rip the whole thing out and call it a day, or I'll rip the sleeves off, turn it into a vest, and see if he'll wear it. But I don't think he will. I don't think he'll. I was pushing my luck getting him to wear it as a jumper. I don't think he'll wear. I don't think he'd wear it as a vest. That's what I'm thinking. Put some ribbon around here. Sort this bloomin' neck out. Maybe make a little vest. Maybe. He's not really one for wearing shirts or anything though, and like, do you wear a vest with a t-shirt? I don't know. Maybe. Otherwise, I don't know. The wool's all just gonna get shoved in a bag, and then I don't know what'll end up happening with it. And like, it's not cheap, so I don't really like wasting stuff like that. But yeah, that is the sad tale of Loxley. The sad tale is that the pattern doesn't state enough yarn, and the neck is not fun, and now I hate it. Simple as that. Yeah, no, I'm not so chuffed, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So that's that. My last thing I'm going to show you is my acquisitions. Last episode I was saying about meeting up for the Yorkshire Yarn Fest, and a few of you have joined the Discord, which is amazing. A few of you bought tickets. I can't wait to meet you all at Yorkshire Yarn Fest. I said about meeting someone called Angela last week, and I was a bit vague because my head was in the clouds. But basically, over Instagram, when I'd said about somebody in my area, there was a lady called Angela who said that she's close by. She's about 40 minutes away from me, 30 minutes away from me in the car. So we organised to meet up for a coffee, and we met a couple of weeks ago. And she was absolutely lovely, and I can't wait to meet up with her again. We've been chatting on WhatsApp and things, and we're going to go to the Yarn Festival together. And yeah, so hi Angela, because I know she watches. And we're going to be, she's going to be with me. We're going to travel down to the Yarn. That's it. We're going to travel down to the Yarn Festival together in my car. So yes, so that's all sorted, and I can't wait to meet everybody. And please if you have if you've missed out on last episode and you don't know what on earth I'm talking about, I'm like, people who are on their own and would like to go to a yarn festival, if you can go to Yorkshire Yarn Festival, we are arranging so we can all meet up together, so we can all go and enjoy the yarn festival and not be alone at the yarn festival. So yes, please join my Discord. Come along, the link will be below. Come along and get your ticket. And we're all seems so far, we all seem to be buying the 10 a.m. ticket so we can be there all day. So yes, get that so that we're not having to keep coming back to the door to collect people. Get 10 o'clock ticket, get yourself down there. If you can't get a 10 o'clock ticket anymore, because I haven't checked, let me know in the Discord and we'll sort something out. So yes, so lovely Angela, I was talking about acquisitions and not yarn festivals, but lovely Angela brought me 3 gorgeous minis just as a gift, and these are what she brought me. So she said, I can't remember who she said the dyer was now, I'll have to ask her, but one of them is from, or 2 of them, yes, this one, Trixie, which I absolutely love, and this one, which I also love. This is called A Strict Uniform. They're from Call the Midwife. That's a set for Call the Midwife. Oh, drop in. And then this is the one with the, so this is a friend's one from somewhere else. I don't know where she said. I can't remember who she said the dyers were. We'll have to ask her. But they're super soft and squidgy. Absolutely love them. And I keep thinking that I want to make a granny square, no, a granny stripe blanket, but I can't crochet. So there's a hiccup in my plan. But I'm sure I can do a granny stripe blanket though, couldn't I? I can't even see my own eyes with this hair. I do apologise. Would I? I can't hold the tension and the hook at the same time. I'd get in a right, like, everything spins around and... So yeah, crocheting a granny stripe blanket when I can't crochet. That's my plan in the future, and that's what I'm going to use minis for. So stick around and see how that goes. Right, I think I'm done. I don't think there's much else to tell you this week. No, I think that's everything. I think that's all I had to tell you. So I will head off, get this edited and up. Oh, I did have a button launch today, if you like your buttons, in my Etsy shop. that's also linked below. There's lots of lovely new buttons in there for you to peruse and choose. So there you go. I'm going. Have a lovely 2 weeks, and I will see you very soon.